Next item is B16, present and discuss potential 2024 bond measure project priority list. Will Paul Eidsvog please come forward?
What I'm doing today is just getting some of the feedback in regards to the board. Then we'll put together a few options that we will then sit down one-on-one to make sure we've addressed and heard from everyone. And then the plan would be is to present those options to the board on the 25th, and then that would be the list that it would be, and then they would vote for one of those options to have their the prescriptive list that you guys have asked for. So here's kind of a summary slide. You've seen this before, right? So we've got as we've talked about, there's a third of the bond that we've got that's kind of in related to some CBA language that we did with our last agreement with FDA. And we've got a couple different options that we've laid out for the board to discuss to see if we've got some, the right direction here.
I think what I would say, my take on it is I support us moving into the equity mindset as much as possible, really truly just looking objectively at where do we have facilities, buildings, campuses, neighborhoods that have the most urgent need.
With all due respect, Trustee Levine, the regional approach has got us into the situation of inequity because everybody's looking out for their particular school sites, and not at where the greatest need is and where the older schools are, and the impact that has to our kids. I am firmly against the whole by-region aspect because I think it really furthers the inequities, particularly in my region, that has more schools. So if my region has typically the most schools and we're dividing up a sum of money, plus the fact that they're the older schools, then where's the equity in that, right?
There's children that are going to school where it's rat infested, right? And it's the moldy, and there's wood that needs to get replaced. Playgrounds that are years old, and if that's being weighed against like something that's not that doesn't affect our children's health and safety as detrimental as that, I'm gonna lean towards making sure our children's health and safety is attended to first, versus making a political decision. I'd rather do an ethical decision that benefits our children for the next several years versus making it look like we're doing a political decision, and I'm not okay with that.
Well, I think we can have it both ways, per region and per need. When you gave us this list, thank you for the equity, thank you for pricing it out. My community needs 9 million. I don't have a need for, well, 500 divided by 7 is what? $71.42 million. I don't need all that. So maybe there's an elementary school. My region doesn't call for that at this time, okay? It doesn't. There is not that need in my region. So the rest of it could be shared and utilized in another region that would benefit from it.
I get you. However, we did commit to the equity, right? We committed to the equity calculator. We committed that if there's schools that are underserved, that those are the ones that we're going to try to get to first. So I wish we could split up, and I wish you could give your rest of your millions to me, but this is what we committed to.
Mr. Eidsvog, do you remember right after I was first elected, we went on a facilities walk at Bullard High School?
Yep.
Do you remember the gym we went in? Could you give us an assessment of that facility?
That gym, obviously, be the second gym, or is that? Yeah. That second gym is one of our older second gyms. So as we're finishing up the second gyms that we're putting at all the other campuses to create that equity, that Bullard second gym will obviously be the next gym that will have to be addressed.
I am concerned with this project list because out of a $500 bond, it's not very even. And I know that there's equity issues that we need to address, but there are also failing facilities that didn't make the equity list in the Bullard region simply because the community is seen as higher functioning or higher socioeconomic. If that same gym existed in another part of town, it would have been included, given the condition that it's in. You know, as I talk to constituents and I talk to people that are preparing to vote, I'm going to say Northwest voters need to feel like they're going to see something, you know, for that bond too. And right now, it's pretty slim pickings. Voters expect something when they vote for a bond. And so we, as a board, need to think about that also.